Hello, everybody. This is an addendum video to basic variables 1.0, so I'll call this basic variables 1.01. I made the mistake in that video. I mentioned that there was a couple primitive variables that we were going to talk about, and I completely skipped the character discussion or the character primary variable. So let me go to my J shell and let me do some quick demonstrations. Shouldn't be that long of a video. So we're looking at my J shell here, and if we think about it, if I do a string and I assign a variable, we'll call this variable shape, right? A couple things you need to start learning as you're going through Java. String is not a primary variable, right? Or primitive variable. Shape is not a primitive variable. You can tell that right away because string has that capital S. As you start reading your Java, you'll start noticing things like classes are capitalized and things like that. So we are basically creating an object, a string object from the class called shape. And the string object is actually a series of individual characters. Now, there is a primitive variable called character. And to assign a character, when would you use a character? A single character, there could be a lot of variations to it, or maybe you're pulling individual characters from a string or something like that, but there are a lot of methods that are associated with character. But we do have to assign it, declare the variable, and for this demonstration, I'm going to call my character variable middle initial. I think we're all familiar with a middle initial. Now you'll notice immediately that it's going to create a blank. It's showing you that that particular character has no value in it. And that's what it's demonstrating here. I want you to pay particular attention to something. If I do shape, which is a string, like a red word, which is a string variable, and I assign it to, assign the shape of a circle. It may not be trivial. It's definitely not trivial. But you'll notice that for a string, I have to use the double quotes. And if I hit enter, you'll notice that shape is circle, surrounded by double quotes. Not the case with a character. If there's one thing you get out of this short video is characters have to be assigned with a single quote. So if I was to assign my middle initial to middle initial, I would say middle initial equals A, right? Single quote A. You can see that's a very common mistake, especially if you're switching in between different programming languages, especially if you're switching between Java and Python. Python, it really doesn't matter. It's based upon what's inside the quote. So for example, in Python, let's say you needed to have a single quote as part of the string, then you surround the string by double quotes, and vice versa. In Python, say you needed a double quote inside the string, then you surround it by single quotes. Not the case with Java. With Java, strings are always double quotes. Characters, or the char, primitive variable, single quotes, right? And in labs or in programs that you may write, you will often use the character variable. Remember, it is a single quote. That will drive you crazy. If I try to force a double quote, if I say middle initial equals a double quote A, it's not going to work. It's saying has to be a single quote. Let me clear my screen. And if I do the exact same thing with a string, or I say shape is equal to single quote rectangle, that's not going to fly either. So strings, double quotes, characters, single quotes. And that is going to be throughout Java, right? It's not just about readability, It's a part of Java. If you do not follow that, it will not run. So with that being said, I'm sorry I didn't include this in the basic variable 1.0. This is an addendum, so it's basic variable 1.01. Thank you. Hey, well, let's go learn something.